What is up, everybody? It's Lawrence again. So I haven't seen too many reviews of the Vapormax 2, so I'm going to do this video in two different parts. I'm going to show you the Vapormax Flyknit 2 first, and then finally do a comparison from the Flyknit Vapormax 1 to the Flyknit Vapormax 2. So without further ado, let's get into the review. And so this is the Nike Vapormax Flyknit 2. As you can see, this is the black, white, and punch colorway. It's also kind of missing the teal and the purple in terms of the official colorway, but it's kind of interesting in terms of how they created this. And this is the first color to release. The upper is done in a Flyknit, which you can see here. The patterning is in an Oreo-based colorway, which I really do like. The upper is done very, very well from a Flyknit perspective. You can see that it's mainly dark in the black over here and has much more the Oreo-based pattern on the bottom. You're going to notice the punch Nike swoosh, and then finally, this is a major difference, is the heel counter that's in the back is actually done in a type of plastic and hyperfuse. I'm not sure if you can actually see it, but you can see that this panel here with the dots, as well as this this kind of darker area here, is actually hyperfuse. And so through that, I'm not sure if it's all hyperfuse and then a small piece of plastic attached to it that's also fused on, or if it's just all a new type of hyperfuse. I'm not 100% sure. Going to the front of the shoe, you are going to see a very, very great knit pattern in the front as well. And so this is a speckled Oreo pattern, and there are perforation holes in the front over here. For the swooshes of the shoe, you're going to see two of them. There's one in the front, which is going to be a little smaller than the old Vapormax, and then on the medial side, you're going to see a very small swoosh. On the Vapormax sole, this is done in a purple, and you can see that it's basically exactly the same as the other version. What I do like about this is they use a translucent purple instead of a contrasting block, which I think makes it look a little more seamless and sleek, but I do like that about the shoe. In terms of the collar and the top of the shoe, you can see that the laces are done in a flat lace. Typically the laces for the Vapormaxes have been very high quality laces compared to some of their other shoes. There's a contrasting lace tip over here in the punch color, and then the collar of the shoe is done in black. This is one of the major differences of the shoe itself, and this is the fact that it says Vapormax as its own branding logo without the kind of Nike running on top of it. On the back of the shoe, there's one major change here. They added a heel tab, and that has obviously helped you get into the shoe better. And the heel cup is obviously full of perforations and has is relatively, I'd say it's soft, but it's not too soft in a good way. But it's to hold your foot in together. On the inside of the shoe, there is suede paneling, as you can see over here, which I thought was odd in terms of it being kind of a gray on the inside, as opposed to, I'm not sure you can see that. It kind of looks like the cardboard that typically comes with boxes inside the shoes, and so that's kind of a little weird. I wish they kind of did it in a black or even contrasting punch or teal. If you don't see much of a major difference between the Vapormax 2 and the Vapormax 1, there really isn't any. So I'm going to do an aesthetic comparison, and then I'll do a comfort comparison afterwards. So this is the Vapormax 1 compared to the Vapormax 2. And ultimately, the main difference between the two shoes that you can see are the swooshes. Everything else about the shoe basically looks exactly the same. The only other thing that the Vapormax 2 adds is the heel counter here. That's very different. That's supposed to give you a stiffer ride. The second thing is the hyperfuse is completely different. So if you look at the Vapormax 1, the hyperfuse is what they use for rigidity in general, and that runs all along to the back of the shoe up here, down to the front, and then into the toe box. And the toe box is actually made more rigid through the hyperfuse alone, and that's really it. So the Vapormax 2, though, has actually done a better job in terms of adding support with much more solid plastics that are on the shoe itself. So over here you can see that there's that heel counter I was talking about. There's actually no hyperfuse in the middle, so that's a very different thing than what we saw in the Vapormax 1 running into the shoe, until you hit this toe counter over here, or this toe box over here, where there is a plastic piece to hopefully hold your foot in better. But that's really about it in terms of differences. There's really not much, and then there's the heel tab as well. So really the major question is, comfort-wise, what's the difference, and do they feel any different? So I basically wore this for about a day. I'm going to return these. First off, I don't really like the color, which, I don't know, I think the Oreo knit pattern is pretty cool, but I really don't like the purple, with the clear purple, translucent purple, with the teal, and then the hot punch swoosh. It's just not for me. Moreover, I just kind of don't like the Vapormax 2 as much in general from an aesthetics perspective. It's just, I don't know, like I like the fact that this has a big swoosh on this side and a big swoosh on this side. I think it makes it look clean and kind of fast. Over here, I think the Vapormax 2 just looks like a cheaper model to me, and I'm not really sure why. The other thing is, from a kind of comfort level, it's basically exactly the same. I know they made upgrades in terms of adding a heel counter and some plastic here, but for the most part, the knit feels almost exactly the same. The sole feels obviously exactly the same. The one other thing that's not visual is within the insole itself. I believe when I step into it, it's a little thicker, so it's a little more cushiony than the original Vapormax, but in all honesty, I can't really tell a difference from a day-to-day perspective. And if you want cushioning, I wouldn't recommend these shoes anyway. I would actually go with the Vapormax Plus, or any of the Vapormax soles, like the Vapormax Utility, that have a Cushlon in the middle of it, and then the Vapormax sole on the bottom of it, which actually overall is, I think, a better way of using Vapormax tech. But overall, I just don't recommend getting the Vapormax 2 if you can find the Vapormax 1 on sale. There's going to be no difference in terms of feel. The aesthetic is a little different, so if you like the smaller swooshes and you like the plastic panel in the back, which I personally don't like, then I would definitely go with the Vapormax 1. The Vapormax 1 has everything that you want, and probably since this came out recently, these are probably going to start going on sale relatively soon, and so if you can catch it on sale, I would definitely do that. That was a Vapormax Flyknit 2 in the black, white, and Hot Punch colorway. Until next time.